Yes, sir. Reading you loud and clear. Clear. The clock has started. The clock has started. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
And welcome to Pressing for Flight, live from the Space Coast, where the schedule never holds. This is actually take 2. You wouldn't know that because the first time we weren't streaming at all, and I still don't see that we're streaming.
I
saw it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we were trying to time that. If you're watching over here on the left side of the screen, you can see that we had a successful liftoff of Falcon 9 carrying Dragon on the CRS 19. That is the Cargo Resupply Services mission, the 19th mission in the CRS contract that SpaceX has with NASA, carrying lots and lots of interesting things to the space station, which we will get into.
Some of Mickey's friends.
Yeah, me and Keagle got to go do the NASA social.
Yes, we did.
And
saw a lot.
Saw lots of cool things. Forgive us, we are actually redoing the first 2 or 3 minutes of the show, and it
feels so organic the second time around.
Yeah, if you've ever had to do that, you know how painful it is. And but the first go around, I for whatever reason, it dawned on me that we never explained what pressing for flight means. And if maybe if you're really into this stuff and you watch, especially if you watch the SpaceX webcasts a lot, you've probably heard that phrase and maybe you even know what it means. But for the uninitiated, pressing for flight it's short for pressurizing. So a rocket, it gets a lot of its strength from pressurization, just like a soda can, where when a soda can is still closed and it's pressurized, you can stand on it and it can hold your weight and it won't crush. But as soon as you open it, it'll crush. And so in the same way, they pressurize the tanks of the rocket to give it more strength. I mean, obviously there's struts and scaffolding or whatever the terms are on the inside of the rocket to hold it whenever it's empty. But it gets a lot of that strength from being pressurized, just like a soda can. So bam, there's your knowledge. Oh, yeah, I just got the notification. We are indeed live. Congratulations. Yep. YouTube sometimes likes to just change your stream key. And if you're like me, you like to be able to grab that stream key quickly. So I just have a notepad that has a stream key on it, and I just grab it and stick it in there. And they changed it on us. But anyway, Keagle, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. I've had an exciting week.
Yes, yeah, busy week. Very tiring because we had to get up pretty early for both days. But we'll talk about our days in a second. Matt Cutshaw, founder and operator of Next Horizons Spaceflight. Over 5,000 strong on Facebook, y'all. Why don't you join the club?
Come on over.
Yeah, it was really cool. So I wasn't actually there for the actual launch, but I was there for a scrub day, and it was really cool. I got to educate some people from overseas.
Yep.
Asking a lot of questions,
getting a lot of answers.
That's right. My viewfinder saw a lot of eyeballs that day.
Oh yeah, did you let a lot of people look through it?
Oh yeah,
that's always cool for people.
I was like, go ahead, take a look. They're like, oh, look at that. That's cool, mate. Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah. One of the things that happens a lot of times when I'm up on the exploration tower, I'll have my camera set up and ready to go on something, or it might even be shooting time lapse. And people will just walk up to my camera like it's there for like the exploration tower put it there for them to look through. And I've had people just walk up and grab my camera and try to move it around and mess with it. And I'm like, whoa. And one lady, she turned around and kind of gave me a dirty look. She's like, it's fine. I'm not touching it. And then she looked back through it, and then it dawned on her. She turns around and she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. This is your camera. I'm like, yeah. And then she's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, it's fine. You can actually go ahead, but I just wanted to let you know. Becky Covington, how you doing?
Hello. I'm doing fantastic. I'm trying to make this sound like the first time. Yeah. Am I doing good?
You're doing great.
Hello. This is the third time I'm saying this today. I've been out of the loop for about 2 weeks now. I've
Yeah.
had a lot on my mind. I've been busy. I've had some changes in my life, and I'm ready to learn a whole bunch today. And I come equipped.
You're the
Yeah.
boss lady.
Yeah, we were talking the other day, and Becca enlightened me to the fact that sometimes there's not really an opening for her to jump in and ask a question, and that's kind of her purpose for being here, is to be the voice for the people that don't follow this as closely as the rest of us do. So now she has a buzzer of sorts.
Every time I have a question, you'll hear this sound.
We're at the stable.
maybe that's more appropriate than we realize, because
Yeehaw.
like that was like humans' first form of transportation.
I would say,
You know?
good.
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Dang.
Now we're talking about rockets.
Dang, Steve
that
getting
good?
all in depth with
Is
it.
that good?
How much horsepower is
Yeah.
There's got to be a way to do that.
There's a Jerry Seinfeld joke. He's like, yeah, we step out of a car with 300 horsepower to get on an animal that has one. Talking about going to ride horses, I guess. All right, yeah, let's get into it. So bright and early on day one, I actually managed to wake up early enough to go pick up Keagle from his house.
Yeah.
Day
one,
I managed to do that, and actually, I'm showing on the screen right now. It was so cold that there was actually ice on his roof.
Oh yeah, it was 37.4 degrees at my house. I got the weather station in the backyard.
Yeah. It wasn't that cold out here. But here you go. Yeah, you can see there's ice. Now you can see that it's already melting where the sun's hitting, but there was definitely frost on those shingles.
Wow.
How is that possible?
I like it. It's from the moisture in the air, the dew that collects the natural freezes.
I can't handle it. Oh my god.
How is that possible? I mean, it gets cold enough, and there's a lot of moisture. The dew forms on the shingles.
Unbelievable.
They form ice crystals and they look white.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll see it sometimes. I mean, well, this will be your first winter here, won't it?
Yeah.
You'll see.
You'll get ice on your windshield and when we get those.
Yeah, if you get up early enough,
like in the upper 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I rise with the sun.
Well, if you get outside before the sun actually hits the grass, then you'll see frost on it.
This is unbelievable. I moved away from that.
Oh, but it only happens like for 2 days.
2 days too many, if you ask me.
Yeah,
it doesn't last.
I don't know. It lasts a few days. I mean, yeah, I remember wearing long johns for multiple days in Florida. Yeah. I don't do the cold, y'all. I don't do it. But I do it for NASA Social. So we showed up real early on day one, which was Tuesday. They checked us all in. We got our badges. We got the badge that you can take a photo of and the badge that you cannot.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah, you got yours right on
That's the one you can't show.
That's the one you can't show on the internet.
You can't show.
Yeah.
I don't know how well it even shows up.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It makes you feel all official and stuff. It's also like, I think it's probably red so that like if anybody sees you wandering around and they don't see your chaperone, then they know that you're where you're not supposed to be. It like stands out. Like that's the color of someone that has to have a chaperone at all times.
Yeah, we even had to be chaperoned to the restrooms in the cafeteria.
That's right.
Then they gave up on that second day.
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I was like, well, I got to go to the bathroom, and I don't see our escort, so I just went. Yeah. Okay? So let's see. Well, the first thing we did, we went into the media room, which was actually kind of neat because I've seen it on NASA TV a million times. It's the big like desk with it's got the little TV in the center that just has the NASA logo animated and stuff, and you've seen
the big screen in the back that has.
That also had a little Death Star on it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wonder, do I have that?
I took a picture and zoomed in on it, but I don't have it.
I've got my Google Drive pulled up from, from the entire thing, and oh man, I want to say there's like a lot of stuff that didn't upload. I was uploading like crazy the other day, and I think there might have been some things that did not get uploaded. That's a bummer. Yeah, we just, we did kind of an introduction thing, and everybody went around and talked about themselves, and then what did we do after that?
What
Keegs.
after the introduction?
Was that was when we went out to 39B, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. That we got the bus. We went out to 39B.
Yeah. So 39B, y'all, is it's one of the old shuttle pads, and also one of the old Saturn V pads. The reason there's 39A and B is because they were built identically, so that they could launch Saturn Vs from either one. And now 39A is leased by SpaceX, and they launched the Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy from it, but NASA held on to 39B, and they've changed a little bit. They've made it what they call a clean pad, like there's no tower on it. They're going to have just like back in the Saturn V days and the shuttle days, they're going to have the mobile launcher roll out to the pad on the what do they call it? The crawler. The crawler's going to roll it out to the pad, leave it there. The crawler's going to leave, and I'm showing it on screen right now. Actually, I've got a better shot. I just showed this short little video that we're probably going to use, or we'll use something of this. We're making a video of kind of the entire NASA social experience, just different clips that we took, and we're going to kind of put it all together. But that's where they're going to launch the Space Launch System from, which is the rocket that NASA's building. It's being built by Boeing and Northrop Grumman, and then the Orion capsule is being built by Lockheed Martin. I want to say there's one more contractor that's helping out with SLS. You guys remember?
That I don't know.
It was
Not
Aerojet Rocketdyne part of it? Or maybe? I don't know. But it uses the same the shuttle main engines, RS-25s, and it uses the two solids, just like the shuttle had. I'll actually go ahead and pull up a picture of it. That's not it.
But it was really cool to walk around the firing tunnel. That's where we were at.
Oh yeah, the flame trench. Yeah, flame trench. Yeah. Yeah, so right here, if I do this, you can get a better look at it. Yeah, so you can see the similarities between the space shuttle and this thing. It's got the big orange tank, the two solids on the side, but instead of having the shuttle on the back of the fuel tank, they're going to have the capsule on top, or payload or whatever. This thing is a beast. It can lift a lot. The shuttle was really powerful in that way. Like you could put a lot of payload in there. But yeah, so this is the mobile launch tower, which is actually anchored on the mobile launching platform, whereas in the shuttle days, the tower itself stayed at the pad, and it's actually the same tower that's there today at 39A that SpaceX uses, and that's what the astronauts will actually go up. They'll get in the crew access arm and get inside Crew Dragon. But that's not what we're talking about today. So yeah, we checked out that. We got down in the flame trench, man. There is just nothing cooler being the business end of a launch pad.
All that history.
Yeah, all the fire from all the different launches. I mean, you had the Apollo launches. Now, Apollo 11, and I think, I want to say all of the Apollo missions that actually landed on the moon launched from 39A. But some of the Apollo missions that, like the earlier ones, they launched from here. And as far as I know, Northrop Grumman's going to use it too for their Omega rocket, right?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, they had one of the launch mobile launchers just outside the VAB, and it had a big Omega banner on it.
Yeah, it's one of the old shuttle mobile launchers out there.
Yeah.
Converting them.
Right, that they're actually like
Hey, giddy up, girl.
Yeah.
What's a flame trench made out of?
Oh man.
Brick.
Yeah, it's like
Brick
brick and
bricks.
concrete. Probably. I mean, there's probably something different. Like I don't think I have a. See, can I? Oh no, that's not what that does. I've seen these flame diverters that, like, down in the trench, they have flame diverters that, like, for these two pads, it'll split it both ways. Actually, I don't know if 39A still splits it both ways, but I'm pretty sure it used to. But it's got this like slanted thing, and I've been kind of close to one because they had them off somewhere. I saw it on a tour or something, and it's got something on it. It's not just straight concrete. I'm not sure that would be a quick Google, but I can try.
I think I know what
What's
you're
a
talking
flame
about.
trench made out of?
What's a
Yeah.
flame trench made of?
Google's everybody's friend.
Yeah. What's it? Concrete rebar.
Flame trench built with concrete and refractory brick.
That's exactly what you said.
Yeah, this is precisely what I said. Refractory brick.
Well, I said brick.
You
I
did
got
say
that.
brick.
I didn't know about the refractory
Brick and concrete. That's exactly what was said.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Wow, we're good. We're like astronauts now.
It's almost like y'all were standing in one a couple days
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
it-
I was
I
walking
mean-
around on it.
Yeah, like, you know, when you're looking at it, you're like, yep, them's bricks and them's concretes, but you don't really
It all
know.
looks very hard.
You don't store that information for later answering someone's question about
I
it.
mean, it's more like, yes, that's what it looks like, you know, to an observer, but I just assume, well, surely there's something else to it, right?
Guess not.
Yeah, it's just good old brick and concrete.
That was it.
Yeah, so that was really cool. I mean, it was. I think the main theme for me was like watching other people and seeing their reactions. You know, because a lot of these
those
people had
Instagram
never
girls are going crazy.
do what?
Those Instagram girls are just photography crazy. with
Yeah.
their
They were loving it. Yeah, seeing people see this stuff for the first time is really cool. It really interests me. Because there was people there that had, well, first of all, never been to a launch, but, you know, a lot of them had never even been to Kennedy or been anywhere near this place, and just, you know, the scales just blow your mind. You know how big everything is and how technological, I guess, everything looks. You know, it's like you have no idea what these things do, and it's just crazy that there are people that do. You know, that like people can build these things.
We got that guy with deer meat for dinner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Runs that Yahoo or YouTube channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he didn't really know anything
Yeah.
about what was going on. He just signed up and got accepted, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go."
Yeah.
And he asked us a lot of stuff. You
Mhm.
explained a lot of stuff to him.
Yeah.
And but it was cool that he was receptive to it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Man, there was a lot of people. They were just super, super receptive, you know, and yeah, they were asking both of us a lot of questions. Just the fact that we live here, you know, and
Yeah.
you know, you assume that because we live here, we know a lot, which it's not always true. You know, we know things on like a surface level.
Yeah, we don't work there.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got a lot of questions
We're
for
not
people
next to
too.
rocket science.
Yeah.
Maybe you should get a horse soundboard
All right.
to help you ask people questions.
What would that sound like?
Oh, hold on. I might have something that will help you. It would sound something
Oh, a
like that.
little something like that. Yes.
I got a soundboard too.
That's nice. Oh, I'm sorry. I just talked over your soundboard.
Yeah, so that was 39A, and then we went back for it wasn't really the media briefing, it was the what's on board presentation, which is something they do for every mission or every space station resupply mission, whether it's Dragon or I keep wanting to say Progress. What's Northrop Grumman's? Somebody out there is yelling at me. It's this. It's the Northrop
Can't
Grumman. Come on, man. Get it together. Let's see. Cargo. Cygnus. Cygnus.
Yeah.
Cygnus. Yeah, I'll show you guys a picture. I don't care. Or the people
Yeah.
people watching. You see. Yeah. Looks very different. Here, I'll show you guys. It looks very different from the Dragon.
Yeah, it's just a tube.
Yeah. Look at this thing. Yeah, it says Orbital ATK on it because that's what it used to be. Orbital ATK got bought out by Northrop Grumman. So now it's the Northrop Grumman Cygnus spacecraft.
Yeah. So this is actually they launched these missions in Virginia.
Right, yeah, from
So
Wallops.
from Wallops. So we'll probably never see any of those launch from here. So anybody watching, if you didn't know, that's Virginia.
Right.
Virginia. Wallops.
And it launches
Launch
atop
complex.
the what rocket?
Mm.
You remember? Antares.
Antares, yeah.
Atari?
Yeah, the Atari spacecraft. So we did the what's on board. They just go over all of the science things that are on board. They don't really touch much on like the supplies, the food and stuff. Yeah, I didn't pull that video up.
Good.
I figured
and I stumbled through it.
you caught enough crap. I mean, your question was good. I mean, what was it you asked them?
I asked, since now that soon will be more crew launches from the U.S. Are the time the astronauts going to be on board shorter?
Right.
That there'll be more opportunities to switch them out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because he was like some kind of a space station manager, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I had to share that with Bekah because I wasn't sure if she knew what was going on. I was like, Bekah, you got to see this video. So I posted it in a chat where we all talk, and she was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, you got to see poor Keagle struggling.
For those wondering, like it wasn't the question he struggled through. He just accidentally said Next Horizon spaceflight wrong. That's all.
Well, he nailed the question.
Yeah, the question was great.
I mumbled through it.
No, I thought it was
It's all
good.
right, Keegs. Yeah, you did
I
great.
thought it was good. He was on NASA TV, so if you recognize this face right here, yeah, that's why.
Well, I would say a year ago I would have never even attempted to ask the question.
Yeah.
So they've come somewhat of a way.
It's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Just knowing it's on NASA TV. That's the only thing. You know, like whenever I did the DM1 NASA social, I got a couple questions in, but I wasn't nervous because, I mean, I was as nervous as you would be knowing that there are other people in the room that can hear you, but I didn't realize it was being broadcast to NASA TV, so I didn't have that in the back of my mind.
Until I sent you a screenshot.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh.
You on TV.
Because I knew they did the press briefing and stuff, but I didn't think that we were going to be on NASA TV too.
Well, we were.
Surprise.
But yeah, do you remember what his answer was, Keagle?
Yeah, he said that they want to still do long extent missions, over a year, but then still cycle out short ones. I think he said like 3 to 6 months or something like that.
And there's actually some news recently about NASA's plans to start, like, okay, so if you've been paying attention, then you may have heard about this, but if not, NASA is wanting to kind of help bring up these commercial companies so that they can have like an economy in low Earth orbit and actually have passengers paying to ride on the Dragon and Starliner. Because they want to be a customer of these companies. You know, they don't want to be the sole customer. They want to be one customer of many. And so they recently said that what they want to start doing is they want to buy some of these seats just like another customer would do to go up to the space station for 30 days. They released, I think, a few months ago that that's going to be kind of the plan, is they're going to allow civilians that can afford it to come up and live on the space station for 30 days. And NASA's considering actually being one of those customers to do just short duration missions on the space station for whatever kind of mission. It could be to send up scientists that aren't necessarily astronauts, that want to go up and perform an experiment themselves, because typically the way it works is when they say that there's science being sent up to the space station, it's these experiments that scientists have put together, and they've basically given instructions to NASA and to the astronauts on board the space station to carry out these experiments while in orbit. And as far as I know, the scientists will be there in the room or in a room somewhere on like a live stream, kind of walking the astronauts through it. Like, astronauts probably already had a lesson on what they're going to be doing, but the scientists are there to be like, yeah, look at this. Oh, okay. And then they'll see some kind of result and be like, okay, well, check this out. And, they'll be basically, the astronauts are the arms and the hands of the scientists on board the space station when they're carrying out these science missions or science experiments. So doing these short duration missions could be a way for these scientists to go up to the space station for like 30 days and carry out their own experiments instead of having to have the astronauts do it. So I think that'd be really cool. One of the things that really stood out to me, and let's see, how do I get back to our I pulled up the Next Horizons, and I was on the stats page.
Just checking out those stats, huh?
Yeah, just want to see the stats. Okay, so check this out. The Mighty, if you've heard, I think it's like one of the most popular science experiments going up, the Mighty Mice. So what it is there's this issue that they have of people living in space where they lose muscle mass and bone density because they're not fighting gravity all day. And it's a real problem. It's so much that they are mandated to work out for 2 hours every day. And even then it's not really enough. They still come back, weaker. It takes a long time for them to recover. And this is just one problem of many. There's problems with people's eyes and then cardiovascular stuff.
Like when Scott Kelly came back, he barely could walk.
Right, yeah. Because when you're in space, gravity's not pulling your blood down, so it tends to just kind of float wherever it wants. And so when you see astronauts on the space station, they look kind of puffy in their face, and it's kind of weird looking. But whenever they get home, all that blood goes back down, and their veins aren't used to constricting and keeping everything pushed up and moving it around the same way. So there's lots of issues, but this is just one. So they want to try to figure out a way to make the astronauts maintain the bone density and the muscle mass. So what I have on the screen here is this bull. I'm pretty sure everybody here has seen it now, but this bull that for whatever reason, they said that it was a naturally occurring mutation where this bull, it was a mutation in his myostatin gene. I'm not sure if it was like he didn't produce it or just didn't produce as much or whatever, but what it is myostatin is this protein that instructs your muscles to stop growing when it's time. And they thought of a way to, they made this drug where they're gonna give it to these mice that have been they've been treated on the ground to not produce this, or it's blocking the myostatin. They've given them a drug, it's going to block the myostatin, so it's not instructing the muscles to stop growing, so they're big. That's why they're calling them mighty mice. And in this same drug, there's a chemical in there that's going to block another, I don't know if it's a protein, but it's called activin, and that regulates your bone density. So they figure if they can block those two things that your body naturally produces, then maybe your muscles will continue to grow in space and your bones will continue to remain dense. And so that's what they're doing. They're sending up these mice, and they're gonna treat some of them. Some of them are gonna receive the treatment. Most of them are gonna receive the treatment. Some of them are actually genetically engineered to not produce these things, and some of them are just like regular lab mice. And I was hoping that I'd hear a horse soon.
Can I go? Okay.
Yeah, go.
Like,
So the muscles will just not ever stop?
Well, that's something that I'm not really sure about either. And that actually, I wish you had been in the room right there whenever they were talking about this on the.
With my horse.
Yeah.
Because I mean they have
Very
to
muscular horse.
stop eventually, right?
Well,
They-
right. Like this bull, like is missing some myostatin. Surely it's not just going to keep growing and growing.
They don't have enough skin for that.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, skin's stretchy. Right.
I have
Yeah.
another question.
Okay.
wait, I was gonna say, they did say that it's found in humans too. Like they've
Right.
studied some
Well,
children that have that
Oh, that are missing it. Yeah, that are missing that gene.
are just unnaturally muscular.
Hmm.
Sorry.
Okay, my other question is, do they have these mice work out?
I don't know. As
Oh.
much as you can have a mouse work out, I guess. Maybe they have a wheel. I mean, in space, it's a little harder, I think, to get them to work
Flop
out.
around.
Well, I mean, how else are they going to do muscles just grow, or do you have to encourage them? Do you have to like put work into it?
That's a really good question for for a scientist.
Well, I
I don't
know-
know.
Well, for like a normal person, when you pick up something heavy or you exercise, you tear the muscles. That's why they hurt later, and then they heal, and then that they grow that way. So you tear, just you keep repeating that, and you grow muscles.
Yeah.
Did someone explain that to the mice?
You just got to work out.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think they need to be working out to build that muscle. I think that like you eat things, and some of the nutrients that you consume, they become different things, right? So, maybe with the myostatin being blocked, more of those nutrients just automatically go to muscle growth. Man, I wish we'd ask these questions.
Yeah.
Well,
you should have the social. They messed up. They made it.
I have another question. Oh no, I think I forgot it.
Oh
No, I didn't forget it. Okay, so they're having the muscles grow forever
Mhm.
by obviously making these mice work out, and
workout drugs.
that's supposed to protect the bones. Like they're not doing anything
There's-
to like.
Two different drugs, right?
Well, it's two compounds in one.
Yeah.
So it's just building more padding for the bones that are losing their density, right? Or is
No, it's okay. So it's that your body naturally produces myostatin and activin, and they're two different things that regulate these two separate things, and they're giving them compounds to block those two things. So it blocks the myostatin, which the myostatin would be telling the muscles to stop growing because they're not being used, and then the activin would tell the bones to, I guess, you don't have to keep building up density because you're not being used. It's not necessary. It's just like when you lay in bed too long and you just become weak, And so if they can block those two things, then the muscles and bones will not be instructed to stop.
But then they were explaining also it would help for humans on the ground when you're older.
Mm-hmm.
Brittle bones, losing muscle density. If you were able to take that, you can keep what you are and not degrade more. So what is it?
Osteoporosis. Yeah, that was one that was listed. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. It's so disuse, which is basically just like if you're bedridden, and you're not using your muscles and bones. But then there's muscular dystrophy, cancer, heart disease, osteoporosis, and then I'm sure there's lots of other things. There's lots of applications for it for people on the ground.
Arthritis.
Maybe. I don't know.
Surely.
I thought arthritis in the joints.
Yeah, I thought that was.
Well, joints are important too for bones and muscles, right?
But I'm not sure it has anything to do with the. I just don't know, honestly. I don't want to say one way or the other because I don't know. I didn't see arthritis mentioned in any of the stuff that I was reading.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Because I wrote this article on Next Horizons, and so I was trying to, actually do a little homework and trying to sound somewhat smart. But I don't remember seeing anything about arthritis being one of the things. Now, there are lots of health factors that they're trying to tackle because, I mean, being in space messes with all sorts of body functions and,
Oh my God, I could imagine. So another thing that causes bone loss is birth control. There's some birth control that causes bone loss, which makes I was thinking about that earlier, and it made me think. I wonder, and I'm about to say this to a room full of men, an internet full of men, but it's just a pressing question. I wonder. You know how they say, I read a meme that said, if you're ever having a bad day, don't forget that NASA asked if 70 tampons was enough for 1 week in space or something. Okay, so I wonder what that's like with the gravity situation. Like just bleeding in general, like.
Yeah.
You should tweet an astronaut or lady astronaut.
That's what I'll do.
There might already be stuff out there, like a Google search here. I'll even.
Oh, now we're Googling about
menstruation in space,
or just regular bleeding, any old bleeding. But menstruation, I guess, is the thing I'm most curious about.
If it's outside,
what happens when you get your period in space? This is from Science Alert. I don't know. Is that a good?
Sounds good.
It's
Science Alert.
I have no reason to believe it's not.
Since early days, periods in space have been a strange and mysterious topic for engineers. Countless things go into planning a launch, and until Sally Ride became the first American woman in space in '83, tampons and sanitary napkins were never part of that process. Let's see. I think this is more. Oh wait! As a result, more and more astronauts are turning to oral contraceptives to skip their periods altogether during both
bone loss. They can't do it.
What?
It's going to cause more bone loss.
But maybe do it a short period of time, not if you do it all the time.
But what if they're able to, have a treatment that does both?
That does both what? Not bone loss
that stops your period and stops the activin that tells your bones to stop producing whatever it is that makes them dense.
We'll get on this, the four of us.
Yeah. Yeah, because let's see. I don't want to necessarily sit here and read this whole thing. Should I? Should I continue reading?
I think I got what I wanted.
After wanting to send an overly generous supply, 100 tampons for 1 week mission. It was clear that engineers didn't have a clue. Yeah, that's true. Well, okay, so maybe actually, you know what? Maybe that'll be your assignment for next week.
I've been so good about those before.
You've never had one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I have. I was supposed to find a flat earther.
Well, yeah, that's.
And I never did. Well, I did, but I did.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, what's my assignment?
To
have my period in space.
Read up on it. Just read. Give us a report. Give us a report next week on what the ins and outs of periods in space.
Everybody, stay tuned. Don't miss it.
Yeah,
it's going to be awesome.
Wait, actually, well, I don't know. Depends on if we could get to it because, by the way, we have Gavin from SpaceX Fleet on next week.
All right, special guest.
Maybe he'll
I
have
hope he likes to
something.
talk about periods.
Like it-
Hey, yeah, I
Surprise!
know
What did I
you're
do
doing
with
all
my
your
number?
stuff with your SpaceX fleet, but we got pressing matters here.
The first thing we start the show with.
Yeah. All right, we should probably move on. I feel like we've been going a while already. We did have the hiccup in the beginning though, so I don't know what time we actually started. Okay, so after that, let's see. We went and we toured. What did we do after that? Lunch.
Yeah, I went,
Well, we
yeah,
did the VAB, but that was on day 2.
yeah.
What'd you think of that? Was that your first time inside there?
No, that's my second time.
You've been in there before, yeah. I'd been there once before
Yeah,
too.
years ago.
I did
It's
see
still
some interesting things though.
well, you
seems
guys
amazing how
went and
big it
had
is.
lunch. Tell us about your lunch.
Dude,
Who's it?
man,
Was it
I'm talking
was
about
it like did y'all eat astronaut food?
No.
if they serve wings and catfish.
Yeah, that's,
You know,
I
did
had
they give-
Space Subway.
you had Space Subway. Did they have
Zero G Subway?
Did they have astronaut ice cream?
Nope.
Oh, then they give you astronaut ice cream. Oh man,
No.
they give us astronaut ice cream
Had
when
a
I did my
frosty
social.
cold Mr. Pibb.
I think
No.
there was in my last NASA social. I think in the goodie bag they gave us. I think there was
Yeah.
some astronaut ice cream in there.
Yep,
Yeah.
I didn't get it this time.
some crunchy goodness, which they don't even send that up to the International Space
Right.
Station.
Yeah.
Yeah, your little crumbs everywhere.
Yeah.
So we
You
got
get in everything.
to visit the pad. That was cool.
And the gravy.
I
Oh,
was-
gravy was like,
Huh?
I was trying to remember where else we went. can't
Yeah, I
think.
know.
Oh, the veggie lab.
Huh?
The veggie lab.
Oh yeah,
Veggie
the
Lab.
Veggie Lab. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Veggie Lab, man. That place is so cool. Like, I don't know. It's just they're trying to figure out how to, efficiently grow things in space, and it can't be easy. I mean, you only because everything they're doing obviously is on the ground, so it's kind of theoretical, and they're just kind of trying to come up with best practices, and then I guess they come up with something and then they try it out on the space station.
Yeah.
Right? And it's mostly like hydroponics, right? And didn't somebody asked about, the roots and how they do that? And I think they said that they basically like put like damp cloths or put it in like a baggie with like damp cloths around the roots to get the water to them.
And then the fertilizers are like little round balls. Like you could buy that. I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Buy that fertilizer, you mix it in the soil. So they use that, but I guess a different NASA version.
Yeah, I was wanting to ask him a question. I didn't really get a chance about like, what kind of like what was an assumption that they had that, maybe was wrong, maybe something was actually worked out easier, it was easier to do in space or more difficult than they expected or something, like I wonder if it's mostly that they're just trying to be as efficient as they can be, or if there's like some basic things that they still have to figure out about growing things in space. I mean, they've grown lettuce, I know that, so that they can do it.
I guess there's certain. I know there were one of the rooms they had radishes they were growing.
Mm-hmm.
Radishes.
Yeah.
I don't even like
Man,
radishes.
who the heck wants to eat radishes in space, man?
They're
That is
good.
nasty.
There's always someone that likes them.
You don't know what you got till it's gone, Matt.
Yeah.
This is a whole lot of nastiness.
It's either the dehydrated in the bag food or have
Like,
a fresh radish.
It's up there with beets. Like, who eats beets,
They're like
man?
they're like basically the same thing, man. They're like
No,
Right?
they are
them
not.
and Brussels sprouts.
Right?
Oh my God.
Those are-
You just haven't had them right. None of you have had any of those things prepared correctly.
Does the
some
radishes
broccoli,
taste
too.
like dirt?
No, it has a sharp, tangy flavor and a crisp texture. I like radishes.
Like tangy dirt?
No, it doesn't taste like dirt at all.
Wait, what kind of dirt are we talking about here?
Right?
The only dirt I like is tangy.
Tangy. Tangy dirt.
So, the launch pad visit. I want to say that was Keagle's first visit to a live launch pad. I know you've been to launch pads, but first time with a rocket on there, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. We went to 2.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. What a surprise, man. Like we were getting off the bus at SLC 40, which is where Falcon 9 launched from. And they were like, "Yeah, okay, so you're going to have about 30 minutes here, so, do your thing." And actually, I was kind of trying to think about angles for whenever I'm able to go out there and set remotes. And so I was kind of like taking my time and I was trying to get good shots, obviously, to use later, but um then I walked down to the other end where Keegle was, and we are just, kind of talking, and then all of a sudden somebody shouts out, "Hey, you guys want to go see another rocket?" And we're like, "Huh?" And then he's like, "ULA invited us over to SLC 41, where Atlas 5 was on the pad with Starliner on top." And so we got to go over there and check that out. Got
That's
some
awesome,
got some
Because we
great
drove by it,
shots.
and we're all trying to take pictures through the tinted bus windows.
Yeah.
And we're like, "Oh man, it's out there!" And then they let us go out there and get out of the bus.
You actually get outside, yeah, right outside the gate to the pad. Like they've got a fence around the pad, and we didn't go inside the fence, but man, we're close enough. That
Yeah.
That's cool,
it
man.
didn't matter what kind of lens you had, you were getting a great shot.
Right.
Yeah, it was cool, man. Just sitting up there, and that thing's gonna launch. Actually, that's some news there. For whatever reason, the launch has been pushed back to the 19th, but that's not a big difference. But yeah, that was super cool, man. I gotta say, man, they just seem to be really cool in that way, like just
Yeah, that's Tori Bruno for you, man.
yeah,
Smart. You want to get as much exposure.
yeah, yeah,
Tori's awesome, man. Tori, if you're somehow listening, you're an awesome guy.
yeah. And then, well, okay, so that was on launch day, and so we yeah, after the visit to the pad, that's actually when we went to the VAB and walked around in there. But then we went out to our viewing site out on the NASA Causeway, and everybody's out there and excited. And man, it was kind of weird. Like everybody kept asking me, like, "So what are they saying? Do you think it's gonna go?" And I'm like, "Man, I don't know." Like all day, like in my mind, I was like, "It ain't gonna happen." But
Yeah, I had that feeling.
I didn't want to be the bearer of bad news. And then I guess one of the people in the group was like friends with somebody that was actually in the firing room and got the first word, like before we even got any tweets.
Intern.
Yeah,
She's an intern.
yeah, and she just kind of quietly was like, "Scrub," and everybody's like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, I've got a friend that's in the firing room," and he or she just texted her that it was a scrub. And then I'm like, oh, and of course, my first instinct is to get on my phone, check, Chris B or Chris G or Emery Kelly, the people that I know are in the know.
And then like a minute and a half later, they all started popping up.
Yeah, scrub.
That's-
Which
yeah,
was
that's
which is fine. Like it's part of launch. The reality of following launches and launch life and everything. But it was just kind of a bummer. There was a lot of people there that just couldn't stay another day. They'd gotten the time off they could from work. I mean, Keagle was one of them. He had to work the next day.
Yep.
And then Matt was one.
Bekah had to work too.
Yeah, I did.
You were working on both days, weren't you? Or were you?
I was.
Yeah. But
At least the plus, you can just go outside and watch it when one goes off. That's a nice being right on Cocoa Beach.
Yeah. But I feel like we made the best out of the scrub day, right?
Oh, man, did we?
What'd you guys do? I went home and took a nap. What did you guys do?
So I actually ended up hitting up Keagle and was like, "Hey, Keagle, I'm in town. Obviously, just scrubbed. I'm in town. I want to go see Starship.
Yeah.
Haven't had a chance.
I live a mile away from it.
Right. I have not been able to go and see Starship. I think Steve-O was going to pull up those pictures of the Starship that I was able to take.
I accidentally gave a sneak peek because it's the fourth picture on that tweet. And I had the first one pulled up.
So I was like, "Hey, Well, I ain't got to do nothing. So I actually ended up going to have lunch with Michael Kane. If anybody is following his work from Cold Life Photography, he's
He's a
just an
great,
incredible photographer,
yes, a
man. He
great
just
photographer.
that man, him and his buddy Dave, which also he's a photographer as well. So we actually ended up going. We actually ended up going and meeting over at Grills and had lunch together. And then after that, I was like, "Hey, Keegle, I want to come and see Starship." So King was like, "Hey," he texted me his address. I went over there and went to the Keegle house. There was no frost on the roof, unfortunately.
Good.
Uh-oh.
That's what's
It's not-
natural.
You know, there was no frost on the roof, but we actually went on a little adventure and went and see. We actually went around the cul-de-sac where the SpaceX security guard. As soon as he saw us, he puffed up.
He was immediately
Yeah.
coming out.
He knew he got right out of the watchtower. He was just like, "What y'all doing?"
Well, you know, you
What
guys
y'all doing?
probably weren't the first ones that day, you know.
Yeah,
They probably expected
mean-
a bunch of people to be coming out that way.
yeah,
Y'all look like trouble.
yeah. He puffed right up. He was like,
Rolling around in a Toyota Corolla.
Yeah.
Trouble coming.
"What y'all doing?" You know. So we actually ended up going to the cul-de-sac where the FedEx was and got some pretty good shots. I didn't notice this before, but there's actually a giant American flag on the inside of that structure, which I don't know if anybody knew about, but I thought that was pretty cool the way that
I never
SpaceX
noticed
is
it
being really patriotic like that. I thought that was amazing. I love it when companies do that.
Yeah.
When they're just extremely patriotic. But so after that, Keegle was like, "Hey, we can go down this dirt path." I'm like, "What dirt path?" I was like, "Yep." We got a little bit of time because I got to go pick up Steve-O, but yeah, we got a little bit of time. So me and Keegle ended up going on a little adventure, adventure through the buzzing power lines and dirt roads and things was crackling.
Yeah. We first I took the wrong path, and then we're like, well, let's not walk back up. And he's like, I would go right through these bushes, and we just
We sure did. We went right to the bushes. I was like, Keegle, we might get bit by something, but oh well, we're gonna go
you were
through
first, so I didn't want you to get bit first. I'll dial 911 for you.
So we ended up going through, and there was Starship. That's actually where I got that picture from. And we stayed there for a minute, getting some good pictures. I think I went live in Next Horizons there a couple of times. And in our way back, we saw a boar. Something had gotten a hold of a boar and just like tore it to pieces. There was like a snout over here, and there was like a couple of hooves here and there.
Oh,
and it was
man.
like, wow. It was like
Something had gotten a hold.
there
I
was
think-
pieces of pig everywhere.
It was the Mighty Mice.
They got loose. That's why they scrubbed.
And they only like hog.
That's it. I was like, dang.
They sure went a long way to get some food.
And we didn't even notice the pig at first. I was just kind of going over there to check out the couch because somebody had dumped a couch off to the side. I was like, oh, what's going on with this couch? And then I was like, oh, look, there's a pig. As we were walking up, you could see the tracks. I was like, oh, there's coyote or something, some kind of dog or something tracks are there. Like, oh, there's some deer tracks. I was like, oh, there's some boar tracks. I was like, uh-oh, hopefully these boars don't come out. If nobody knows, wild boar, they are extremely mean. They will kill you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They will. There was actually
they're
just happened
aggressive,
just
yeah.
the other day. Some lady got killed on her front step. Some boar came in and killed her.
Mhm.
If you encounter a wild boar, run or something. I don't know. I don't know what you're
Go
supposed
up
to
a
do in
tree.
that situation.
You're supposed to
Yeah,
get up a
right.
tree. Yeah. Because they
Yell
can't
at them, I will turn you into bacon, and
Yeah.
maybe they'll take off.
Yeah, that's what my dad always told me when we'd go hunting. If we ever come across boar and they started chasing, you get up the nearest tree as fast as you can.
Nearest tree.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, boar ain't no joke.
yeah, yeah. And Florida's full of them. And actually, on the bus today, yeah, man, all these days run together. Our guide, he was talking about boar, and he was saying how like it's always open season on boar because there's so many of them. Like you still have to have a hunting license, but they're always in season. Is what he said.
And you guys got Greg.
Is that his name?
Greg,
Yeah,
man.
he's a great
Greg,
guy, man. Very
Greg is
knowledgeable.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
Greg is awesome. He actually did our tour as well,
Yeah,
and he's awesome.
and
man.
he's a Marine, right? Was it
Army?
Army? Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because
Yeah, he's
he had the
Army.
hat on. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's just a wealth of knowledge, man. He was around through all the shuttle missions, and he's just oh man, he just the stories that he could tell you, man. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we just ended up going back to the car. I dropped off Keagle, and then I went and picked you up, and then me and you went on a nice little different kind of adventure.
Oh man, and one that we wish that we could talk about a little more than we can, but
We can't, other than the lobby. That's
Yeah.
all we could talk about. The
yeah.
shiny floors.
But here, I'll share the screen for y'all because I don't know if you guys have all seen these photos, but Matt got some good shots. It's Christmassy inside the Blue Origin factory.
Aw.
There's Matt. Yeah, so here's some scale for you. This is the New Shepard rocket. Here, this is a full length photo of it. Man, I knew, obviously you know it's big because it's a rocket, but in my head, it didn't seem like it was as big as it was, because it's a suborbital vehicle. It doesn't make it all the way to orbit, so it doesn't have as much fuel in it. But it was still massive. I mean, look at that. Like you could walk under it and barely have to duck your head, right?
Yeah.
But this is the vehicle that Blue Origin is going to use to send passengers up into space, where it's going to go straight up and then back down. This is their first capsule. It didn't have windows. The ones that they've been flying now do. They haven't started flying people yet, but this one flew 7 times, hence the 7 turtles on the door. And then the booster, did it have an indication? I know it flew 5 times, but did it have like a marker to show?
I didn't see any kind of a marker. There's a little plaque right there at the very bottom, right next to the leg.
Yeah, down here.
It was actually, it was a whole bunch of information saying like each mission, and it was like 5 times. And I mean, you could just tell being up it. I was kind of poking at it and was like, "Oh, that's squishy."
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Hey, don't touch."
Yeah.
Don't be poking at it.
Yeah. I asked him a question about it, like, oh yeah, it looks like some of this stuff, like obviously they just left it after its final flight. They didn't have to do any of the refurbishing or anything. And I was like touching it. I was like, what about this stuff? Like this almost looks like it could flake off. And he's like, actually careful there because it might.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so cool that they let us come in there and they walked us around the factory and honestly, even if we could talk about what we saw, to describe it might not be as impressive as what we saw with our eyes. Like we were nerding out hardcore,
Yes.
but it's bits of things,
The nerd was strong.
Yes, it was, man. It's like every time we turned a corner, we were just like,
What's that?
Me and Steve would just kind of look at each other, the big eyes.
Yeah, it was
Like,
it was very
oh
cool.
yeah.
Yeah. And our tour guide, I don't even know if we should say who our tour guide was. Might as
Nope,
well not. We'll just
Nope.
we'll just say he was very, very nice and very accommodating and we were able to speak candidly about the industry at large. It wasn't like, don't you mention any other rocket companies, or anything like that. It was like we were just able to talk about, what Blue Origin's doing versus what, other companies are doing and stuff. And we're, ask him anything we could. And if he could answer it, then he would, it was...
Yes. Steve, he came up in there with a ULA hat on.
Yeah, I did. I had this hat, this Vulcan hat, same one Matt's wearing, actually.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything about. Of course, it's solid black. You can't really tell unless you're looking closely.
Yeah.
But to be fair, the Vulcan will be using a Blue Origin engine. It's called the BE4. It's going to be on the New Glenn. There's going to be 7 of them on the bottom of the New Glenn. I think there's only 1, or is there 2 on the bottom of Vulcan? Is it just? Man.
The bottom of Vulcan?
Yeah,
oh, man.
I'm
not even
first
sure.
stage has 1 or 2 BE4. So, they're kind of, they're friends, So I figured, I better not wear my SpaceX hat in there, but my Vulcan hat should be fine.
So now the running joke with me and Steve-O is we got a chance to have a cherry Coke.
Yeah.
While we're in there, and we're like, so our tour guide told us, hey, now you could tell people that Jeff Bezos bought you a Coke, bought you a cherry Coke.
That's right.
So when I was at work today, I got a cherry Coke, and I sent
You tweeted it to me or something, and you're like
tweeted it,
winky face.
and I tagged you, and I was like, hashtag Jeff Bezos.
Right.
Had a cherry Coke.
And if he ever saw it, even he would probably be like, well, "What?
Like, what you talking about? Like,
What's
you
that
know,
supposed to mean?"
just trust me. Thank
The
you,
Vulcan
Jeff.
have 4 engines. Just so you know.
The Vulcan's gonna have four BE4s on that bad boy.
That's what it
Nice.
says.
Nice. Yeah, I think we've talked about it before, but both the Vulcan and the new Glen are just going to be so cool to see. And
Yeah.
one of the things I'm looking forward to the most is that blue flame, because it's
Yeah, that's gonna
methane
be cool.
instead of hydrogen and kerosene both burn yellow, but and it might look different because all we've seen is video footage, and photographs, and maybe with the with the exposure tamped down, it looks more blue. Maybe when we actually see it fly, it won't look as blue as what we're expecting. I don't know. I just can't wait to see it.
Good.
Me too.
Once LC 36 goes a little bit more along, the next Horizons Air Force is going to do some flybys and get some pictures of that.
Yes, we have some footage from Keagle today after work. I guess he went on a little flight.
yeah, man.
Went on a little ride with his boss man.
Yeah, it was weird. It was just like he's like, we had to go to the jail because we're doing some work there, and then after that, he's like, you want to do something after work, kill some time, and I was like, all right. I didn't know what was going on.
Now, is this the actual shuttle runway?
Yeah, that's the shuttle runway.
Okay, yeah, because I know there's a skid strip out there, so I wasn't sure if that was the actual. Like he was able to actually fly over the shuttle runway, and he had to like call out to the tower or something, right?
No, yeah, he contacted the tower. We were flying over the river before, just out of the airspace,
Yeah.
and then the tower was talking to someone else, and we were waiting. And then he just asked, and they were like, "Yeah, we're doing some work on the runway, so keep it at 500 feet." Because he said before he would be able to go almost skim the runway, like you're going to land and take back off, but they'll let you know if you can do that. But they said stay at 500.
Yeah,
or that was the lowest you can go.
That's
But that was
super
pretty
cool.
amazing.
Yeah, man.
And I tried to get some video when you flew over. There is a shuttle down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which one? Is it like Enterprise or something? Like one of the prototypes?
Yeah. I don't know. I was trying to look into it. I don't know if you want to do it real quick, but if you Google Map that runway, you'll see it sitting there.
Oh, okay.
It's still there. It's in the Google Map, and it was still there when I flew over. But for some reason, I was like, I'm going to try to live tweet this in a plane instead of just videotaping it or just recording it, and it lost connection and didn't save the video.
That's
like a dummy.
That's right. Do you know about where? Like at what end of the runway?
When you zoom in on that runway, it's right there. So it's just north of the VAB. You can see the runway.
Yeah, I see the runway, but I mean, I'm gonna try to get in close. Oh, is it right here?
Yeah, keep going. Zoom in all the way down there.
Right there. I just, I don't want to zoom in on the wrong area of the runway. Oh yeah, looky there. Look at it.
Oh wow,
it's still sitting there.
Huh.
So I was like, oh, that's cool.
I wonder if it's got the keys in it.
I don't know what they used it for. I should have researched it more.
Well, if it's the Enterprise, then it was the one that they would do the.
I thought the Enterprise is in a museum.
It seems like it would be, but.
Yeah, Enterprise is in, I believe, Washington.
Okay, well that's the one that never actually went to space. That's the one they would do the not drop test, but the
gliding.
Yeah, the gliding. Yeah, they would take it up on top of the 747 and then let go of it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and they named it the Enterprise for Star Trek, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it might not be obvious that's why, but that is why they did it. But it was never intended to be one that flew into space. It was just a
That's
test
pretty
article.
cool, man. I had no idea that they had a mock-up out there like that.
Yeah, this is awesome.
That's cool, man.
Just still sitting there. I just flew over. I was like, what was it? My boss was like, there's a shuttle down there. He's like, yeah, it's always been there. He's like, it's a mock-up. I was like, oh.
It's always been there since the dawn of man.
I was
As
like,
we
all
knew
right,
him.
well,
That's
I
how we
don't
got the
understand
idea of
why
building the
that-
shuttle. How do you think we got the idea? That's how we got the idea to build this whole thing here, because we found this shuttle out here on Merritt Island somewhere. We're like,
As you see to your right,
Yeah.
a wild shuttle out in the open in its natural elements.
well, yeah. So that was our week. Is there
That's cool.
is there
man.
anything else?
Well, and there's watching the actual launch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You and
Well,
everyone was
Yeah, I
able to
guess
see
I
it.
thought, yeah. So I've had my shot up here from the launch this entire time. So I guess I thought. So yeah. Anyway, so the launch scrubbed yesterday, and then we get out there, and the crew had greatly diminished because so many people had to leave, but there was still a lot of people out there that had never seen a launch. They were super excited, and man, Space Padre was out there. I don't know if he likes people saying his first name, but he's one of the people that you can watch his stream of the Boca Chica Starship site. He's got a couple of cameras set up in different places, just trained on the Starship site, and you can watch his stream. And man, that was just super cool because he's been watching all this work on Starship all this time, and never got to see a launch. I mean, he saw Starhopper, but that's a little different. That's not like an operational, not a
Right.
test. This is like the real deal. And man, to see his reaction, I can't wait to get this video together because I got some good footage of him reacting to the launch, and
Right.
it's just so cool to see people that want so badly to see something like this, and then they finally get to see it. Finally get that payoff, and then
That's cool, man.
and it was going to be the same story for him if it didn't go today, because he had to go because his son has entered into a surfing competition out in Waco, and they have to be like, they're driving right now to get there. They said that they'll get there at like 2 a.m. tonight, and he surfs tomorrow morning or early afternoon or something. I'm just so glad that they got to see it. And everybody out there, if you stumbled across this podcast and you were out there, I'm just so happy for you guys. Alex from Today in Space podcast was there, and then there's Christina and Kate, and there was Teresa, and there was several Steves. There was a guy with golden.
It was a dog.
Guy
yeah.
with golden. Bekah would have lost her mind. It's this
Golden Retriever?
Yes,
Yeah.
his whole
He was
thing.
so-
He's on Instagram. His whole thing is, he's got this golden retriever that travels around with him in his RV, and this NASA Social was his first stop on an almost year-long trip to ultimately end up in Alaska in August next year. And he's just got this beautiful golden retriever. When we got back to the parking lot both days, he goes to his RV and he lets the dog out, and the dog, like, just
So happy.
grabs its own leash. Well, he walked it over to the grass to pee, and then he dropped the leash, and then the dog picks up the leash and runs over to all the people, and it spends like 3 seconds with each person, and then just goes around and just. You would have loved this dog. It was.
Bekah's over there melting,
Yeah.
man.
Well, you need to you need to look him up on Instagram. And actually,
I'm already there. What's his name?
Guy with golden. It's just one word as far as I know. And
That's cool.
and actually, he took a really cool shot, a 360 shot of everybody that was out there at the viewing site. It's like one of those what do they call it, small world pictures or something. Is that right? Small world.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just cool. It was a great group out there. Everybody
yeah.
was super cool.
That's what I love about these socials, man, is you just, you just get to be part of, you get to watch a launch, and you get, all this exclusive access, but you also get to meet some really cool people that are just doing a lot of really cool stuff in social media. Like when I went on the Parker Solar Probe, we were there with Caesar, the guy behind 1 Second Every Day app. and some of the other people, some authors of some books, you know what I mean, Mary, and then some other people, and it's just you just get a mix of so many different people, at these socials, and it's just really cool that they all come together for one destination and one reason, that is to get exclusive access to NASA and eventually, watch a launch,
Right.
and it's just awesome,
Yeah.
it's awesome stuff.
Yeah.
So, Guy with Golden must have just got a Twitter because
Yeah.
I'm one of his first 10 followers.
No.
Yeah. He said that. I think that he pointed that out. Like he said, he has a Facebook, but he never does anything on it. And I think he just signed up for Twitter.
Well, he's already got pictures of his dog on there, and I've seen them.
Yeah.
He's got all his followers on Instagram, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll look there too.
Yeah. He's on Instagram, almost
That's
exclusively.
yeah. All right. Well, real quick, I found what shuttle's down there.
Oh, okay.
So it was called the Inspiration,
Mm-hmm.
and it was actually the mock-up that was outside of the exhibit that was on 401, like right next to the old astronaut training facility.
Oh,
Wait, on 401? 401 is where the Air Force gate is that right?
No, the other side. The one that we went by for the park for the social.
Oh, yeah, on US 1. But,
it goes out there.
NASA Causeway, yeah. I can't remember the number, but yeah, what the highway number is, but yeah, NASA Causeway.
So, it was called the U.S. Astronaut Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, the old ATX building.
Yeah, it used to be out there.
Yeah, now it's at the visitor complex, right?
What?
The ATX.
Yes.
Yeah, they moved. I guess they moved it in there.
Mm-hmm.
But this one was from there, and they're actually a company, LVX System, which acquired the 122-foot long shuttle replica from NASA, moved inspiration from the hall to work in the yard in January. The company, which has agreement with NASA to study visual light communications and deep space missions, intends to use the shuttle vehicle for both educational outreach and marketing.
Oh, okay. So that's that shuttle that was at the old ATX building.
Oh, okay.
So somebody told me that there's a shuttle out there, and I was like, "What?"
What are you talking about?
Now it's in danger of being tore down, man. And I was really wanting to get a launch or something from the old ATX building, but it's all fenced off now. Just because actually, me and Keegle were talking about this. Just because you have the giant, astronaut logo, and just the way the building looks itself.
Mm-hmm.
If you were able to get the building in a shot with the launch, I would think it would make a great shot.
Yeah.
But it's all fenced off now, so it's hard to get, it's hard to get that framed up now. So,
yeah, I went there one day with my ex when she was still here. We were like, well, let's go check it out. Let's just go see how much it is. And it must have been like real soon after they moved it, because it had all the same logos and everything on it, but just the doors were locked. What happened here?
Yeah, that's actually where they used to do the national socials at, was that everybody met up there.
That's right, because my first NASA social, that was where our instructions were to meet, and then I pulled up there, and there was somebody waiting, like, sorry, we put the wrong instructions out, and it's actually right around the corner in this other parking lot on NASA Causeway.
They used to have space camp there too. There used to be like this weird dorm things on the one side, like they were like tubular. They were on the
Totally.
close on the water side.
I was gonna say, like totally tubular, or
yeah, totally tubular. I went there a long time ago, and they had a thing it would simulate the gravity on the moon. So you got in this like harness thing. It was like a spring system,
on like where it kind of holds you sideways, kind of thing.
Yeah, it was like a seat, and then you could jump.
Oh, it was. I see.
So stepping felt like they simulate the same amount of gravity that if you were on the
right.
On
it like lifted some of your body weight, but not all of it.
Yeah. So whenever you stepped up, you'd lift.
Oh man,
very cool.
Weird
gravity. So
well,
they had a shuttle simulator in there that the kids could learn how to fly a shuttle. And they would do little missions.
And they set them loose. I'm like, hey, there you go. Get on. We're going to space.
Well, yeah, that's gone.
Well, I think we've been going long enough. What do y'all think? Any final thoughts? Any final stories? Any anecdotes?
I'm excited about Sunday. Not this upcoming Sunday, but the following,
Right.
the week that we have Gavin on,
Yep.
is because it's that night launch.
Yeah.
I'm so excited
JC
about that
sat.
night launch.
Yep.
And
Falcon
it's on a
9.
Sunday too, man. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Falcon 9 carrying JC sat coming up on the
Yep.
15th. Yeah, 15th.
Yep.
And I should be able to set remotes for that. And yeah, night launch. So if you're local and you're a photographer, try to get out there, get you a good streak. Set that aperture to like f11, f13. Put it on bulb mode, ISO 100. Just let her rip till you can't see that first stage no more, and you'll be good.
Did you see that the Starliner one? They set the date or the time. It's like 6:54
6:59. Yes, we're gonna
59.
get Twilight Effect.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
gonna be a beautiful launch.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Yep. And
Ah.
it's got two solids. So you'll see a trail. You'll see the nice trail again, and then you'll see the Twilight Effect.
Yeah, oh, that's so cool, man.
Yep. And it'll be
Yes.
and there's no chance of anybody missing that one because it's before anybody has to be at work.
Yeah, I'm
and
gonna
that's
try
on
to
the
see if I can
19th.
close that day. Yeah, I'm gonna try to see if I can close that day. But hey,
An
can I
early day.
close?
Yeah. Yeah, so Bekah, you got that newfangled iPhone 11 Pro.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna do great things.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. Well, that's a wrap, y'all. Follow us on Twitter. If you're watching on YouTube, you can already see where our Twitter handles are. I'll run through it real quick. I'm SpaceCoast_STVE. Matt is Booster_Buddies. Keagle is FLA Steve 321, and Bekah is Game Master Bekah. That's BEKAH, the right spelling of Bekah.
Give us a subscribe here on the old YouTube.
Yeah, come on over to YouTube, hit that subscribe, hit the bell. Hey, I don't know, smash that like button or whatever the kids do. And follow the show on Twitter so you know when we're going live. And, sometimes we go a little bit different times and stuff. Actually, next week we're going to go early because just to kind of compromise, where Gavin's in a completely different time zone. So we're going to try to go for like 9 o'clock. But anyway, follow us on Twitter, pressing 4 flight. That's number 4 in there. And
Also available wherever you can download a podcast.
yeah. If you just got to hear that audio version, yeah, just do that. Just find us wherever you get them podcasts, y'all.
And don't forget to follow Next Horizon Spaceflight. You can check out
All your news.
Steve-O's.
Yeah.
Steve-O's awesome work. Keagle's putting out some good stuff.
Yep.
I try to put out some stuff. It's hard for me to get out there because I do live in Orlando. But Steve-O and the Stevens are putting out some good stuff, man.
Yeah.
So
And we got a website now. We're actually putting out articles, and they're all easy to digest because that's about as in depth as we can get. But we do it on purpose because we know that some people don't like the long articles. Some people just want to hear, the understandable side of space.
Yep.
So yeah, that's nexthorizonspaceflight.com.
All right.
Close this out.
Shutdown sequence initiated. Shutting down.